Good morning and happy Monday to you. Sometimes when you're reminiscing about the past, you run across a tidbit of information that becomes actually timely and relevant. As a matter of fact, on August 23rd of this year, it marks the 40th anniversary of the release of one of the funniest comedies of the 80s. Come take a ride with me.
Gee, I'm real sorry your mom blew up, Ricky.
Growing up, I didn't have a lot of big birthday parties. In fact, they were never really big at all. It was either a small family get together, having dinner, maybe some cake, or I got to have a couple of friends over. And by a couple of friends, I mean about two friends. And that was fine. I personally loved it that way. But one of my most memorable birthday parties, if you can call it a party, my parents dropped me and my friends off at a movie theater. It was Second Run House. And we saw Better Off Dead. None of us knew anything about it going in. I think we might have known one or two of the actors, like John Cusack, who had just broken out as the lead in The Sure Thing after having been in 16 Candles. And we didn't really know much about it other than it looked like it might be funny. So we went in, no expectations, and loved it. The three of us just laughed through the whole thing. We were quoting it endlessly, and probably I still quote it to this day on occasion. But I mean, the cast was just pretty amazing for well, it was really a small scale teen comedy. I mean, like I said, you had John Cusack, who was in his prime at the time. You also had Diane Franklin, starring as the French exchange student Monique. Diane Franklin had also just recently been the title character in The Last American Virgin, and she would go on later to star as Princess Joanna, aka one of the babes, in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Now, Monique was living with creepy next door neighbor Ricky, played by Dan Schneider. Yeah, that Dan Schneider. And then you had John Cusack's best friend, played by Curtis Armstrong, who was at that point and will always be known as Booger from Revenge of the Nerds. On top of that, you had the parents of the movie, played by Kim Darby from High Noon. She was also like the creepy teenage girl who had a mad crush on Captain Kirk in an old episode of Star Trek. And David Ogden Stiers from MASH. And in a small role, but one that everybody remembers really well, was Yuki Okamoto, who also played Chosen in The Karate Kid Part 2, as well as the Cobra Kai sequel series. He's one of two Japanese brothers, and he only learned English by watching Wide World of Sports, which was hosted by Howard Cosell. For those of us of a certain generation, that's funny, because he only spoke like Howard Cosell. Look it up. But I mean, there were just so many parts of this movie that were so funny, so quotable. I had my kids watch it not too long ago, and they both loved it. They quote it now. You can't get away from things like "I want my $2," or "I'm sorry I blew up your mom, Ricky," or just moments that are unbelievable for a comedy nowadays. Because Better Off Dead was such a surreal, dark comedy for its time, and it's so lightweight. It's like a starter dark comedy for teens. And before anyone says that, oh, it's a movie that they could never make today because of the subject matter, which delves into potential teen suicide, because the story goes that Lane Meyer, played by John Cusack, gets dumped by his girlfriend, played by Amanda Wyss, who was also Tina in A Nightmare on Elm Street, and then becomes immediately depressed because he was pretty obsessed with her. So along the way, he meets Monique, the next door neighbor's French exchange student, and they form a bond throughout the movie. He starts to realize things aren't that bad. He's not better off dead, as the title suggests. So the movie just moves along. He gets out of his funk. He stops his comical, yes, wrong, yes, suicide attempts. And he goes on to prove that he's just as good, if not better, than the guy his girlfriend dumped him for. Better Off Dead marked the directorial debut of Savage Steve Holland, who, as far as I know, only directed 2 other theatrical films and then moved primarily into television work after that. You still see his name pop up to this day, but it's usually on something on TV. And it's not a name you easily forget, Savage Steve Holland, which is pretty cool. It's partly animated, which is interesting. Some of it's funny, some of it's weird. You have standard animation in the movie. You have some claymation animation in the movie, and it's just fun. It's like this fanciful dark teen comedy. It's just very surreal, but it's still a lot of fun. Critically, the movie did not do that well. Siskel and Ebert gave it 2 thumbs down. It did not do incredibly well at the box office. I think it made $10 million on a $3 million budget, which is a profit, but it was considered a failure by the studio. John Cusack hated it too. He walked out of a screening, according to the director, and said it was the worst thing he'd ever seen. He went on to work with the director one more time in a movie called One Crazy Summer, which is a very, very similar movie, both in tone and story, but it doesn't nearly hit the heights of Better Off Dead. It's just a superior movie. So if you haven't seen it, give it a shot. It's a lot of fun. There's minimal objectionable content. If the younger ones watch it, I think they're around 11, 12, they'll probably enjoy it. As far as I'm concerned, it's one of the best comedies to come out of the 80s. And I can still watch it to this day and still giggle at the jokes and the lines and come away just wanting to quote it again like I was 15. Now, like I said, I saw it in a second run theater, which means it cost me $1 to get in. And I took 2 friends with me. So that means that they paid
$2.
Well, I hope you enjoy this look back at Better Off Dead. Please like and subscribe. I will see you guys again tomorrow, and I hope you have a great rest of your Monday. Bye, everybody.